Hey everyone, wanted to make a video of some new purchases I've got for potential Battletech, and in case you were looking to purchase them, I wanted to give you an example of the scale and what to expect from them. So if you're questioning whether or not these would be good or not, I'm hoping this video will answer it. So first off, I bought this cool toy from Hobby Link Japan, about 36 bucks. It was on sale. And it is obviously Thunderbird 2. It's very cool. It actually has a little hatch that opens for the top here. Let me see if I can get that to go without knocking the thing over. Apparently not. And then the whole front end opens here. There's also a little... obviously from Japan. But I bought this for a potential Lance dropship for my N-scale games. You done? Okay. Anyway, so I bought this for my N-scale games, and I thought it would be cool as a dropship. So I've got a typical 50-ton mech here, Centurion, for N-scale. And as you can see, they would probably 4 would squeeze in here very tightly. Cool thing is, the middle section does drop, and you can fold the legs up to put it down, and then this actually, hard to do with one hand, this opens up. And there's a little vehicle that goes in there if you want to use it. It's this guy here, although he doesn't really serve any purpose for Battletech, so I left him out. Anyway, good for, potential N scale. Here is a classic scale, so you can definitely see the difference in size. You could easily get a Lance of classic scale in here if you wanted to use this as some kind of prop for your drop ship. But those are available. You can get them on eBay. It's a play set. So, like there it is. That opens up. This opens up. There's some little action figures in there. Obviously not to scale. But it's pretty cool. And it wasn't that expensive. Another thing I purchased in pursuit of getting more variety in my game were some of these little vehicles. And I liked these because if you've ever watched Thunderbirds, they've got these pods that are kind of generic, and then they can just slap on the attachments they want and make it suitable for whatever mission they've got in front of them. I bought this 3-pack that comes with this one, a bulldozer, and the drill. And then you can buy some of them individually, which were the bulldozers, and I got several of those. I'm planning on hacking the blade off of one of these and attaching maybe some construction arms to make it like where it can lift up and maybe like load ammo or something like that. Cool thing is these actually do move. The treads actually roll. It's pretty neat. Not sure what I'm going to do with the drill one, but I'm going to figure something out about it. And then this guy, I thought, a mech carrier or something. Obviously, scale is always an issue. I guess you just have to use your best judgment as to what you think looks best for size. This guy could obviously carry, a full battle mech here. Maybe not so much this one, but it could carry supplies if you want. Another thing in this line is the Thunderbird Shadow, which is just a really cool fighter in its own right. And I thought it'd make a great aerospace fighter in case you wanted to add that to your game. Each of these are on Hobby Link Japan. They were roughly, $5 each, give or take. So it's something to consider. It makes it different, to add some vehicles and whatnot. Even if you don't use them for combat, they're cool for setting up the environment. It just looks futuristic. On that subject also, I've got some other purchases that I wasn't sure the scale. So when I got them, I thought, well, maybe they'll work, maybe they won't. These are a couple of option act buildings. They sell 2 sets of these. There's the difference in these is one's partially destroyed and one's not. That's the only difference. They were about 15 bucks a piece, and I wasn't sure of the size. I was actually hoping the buildings were going to be a bit bigger, so I would get like a pack of 4 or 5 pre-made buildings that were great for scale. Now, for classic scale, they're probably that's almost right, actually. I mean, for N scale. If you look at the scale of the cockpit and the size of the window, it might be about right. I don't know. It's hard to say with a lot of buildings. So I've seen people where they're playing maps where the buildings are, 12, 13 inches tall. And then these, I don't know if these are too big or too small. With classic scale, definitely gets down to a much more reasonable level. And these are the 2 buildings that come in the destroyed pack. Otherwise, you get these other ones that all come in either one. There's varieties of them. And they're in this gray. And then some of them, which one is it? This one. They have these bits where you can remove. And the idea of this, if you look at the box art, is for some of the robot toys, you can kind of stage a combat scene where, the robots are supposed to be gigantic, and they've got these little pegs that you can mount them so that, like, if you wanted them doing an action pose, some kind of running or something like that, you can do that. But they were a little bit smaller than I was hoping, but still, they're pretty cool, and I think they could work for like a small town or something like that, so I don't consider it a complete waste of money. But in case you were looking at them and you weren't sure of the size, wanted to make this video so you'd have some comparisons. And the last thing I got on here is for those of you that like to build your own terrain, here's something my wife pulled out of a humidifier that we just got. And I think I've made a video on this before, how to dry brush these guys. These make great prefab, especially like Adobe type buildings. You can just paint them as is. They look great. You could just carve out like an opening, and if you look at the shape, it already looks like some kind of bunker, really cheap. You can get these out of all kinds of containers. And just another lesson of don't throw anything away before you've looked at it to see if it has potential for game use. Anyway, that's what I wanted to do for this video. I don't post a lot, but I thought you guys might find this interesting. And I will try and put links in the post below for the individual items. So if you want to purchase them yourself at a later date, you can. And I hope this was informative. Thanks a lot.